of you. Good morning to Professor Hamid Dost Muhammadian. Guten Morgen, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the time you have all invested to attend today's Cipta Karsa webinar. Welcome to Cipta Karsa, where we at the University of Pertamina will do our best to bring value to our students by presenting quality talks. My name is Muhammad Arham, one of the lecturer in Management Department, and today I'm also the moderator of today's event. In this event, we would like to welcome Professor Hamid Dost Muhammadian to give a talk about forecasting the future based on impact of 7Ps model through the fifth wave theory in COVID or post-COVID-19 era. Now, before we start with the talk, please allow me to introduce Professor Hamid Dost Muhammadian. So, Mr. Hamid Dost Muhammadian is a professor, is an expert and a professor for international sustainability and is also a futurist in Germany. He is also holding a position as a director for international management at the FHM, University of Applied Sciences. His expertise is also interdisciplinary studies and sustainability with an engineering background. Professor Muhammadian has been a visiting professor at the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy, or ICD, Berlin, TU campus, also UREF campus at Technische Universität Berlin, or TU Berlin in Germany. He's also a professor or faculty at the London Institute of Skills Development, or LISD, in the UK and in some other international universities. Professor Muhammadian is also a member of editorial board at some highly ranked US and Swiss journals, and has published many articles, books, and special issues, and also have served as a keynote speaker for more than 550 international speeches in different conferences, companies, workshops, and projects. He has also developed his own models and theories in hybrid knowledge interdisciplinary studies. He's a theoretician for the so-called fifth wave or tomorrow age theory, I sustainability plus theory, and also DCT or Dost cultural theory. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly, because I have seen your YouTube and you call yourself Dost rather than Dost. So I apologize if I mispronounce it whatsoever. I'm just following what you say in your YouTube video. So prior to his academic life, he has been working as management consultant for industrial and political sector. So there is it, ladies and gentlemen, the short biography of Professor Muhammadian. So ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, please welcome Professor Hamid Dost Muhammadian. Thank you, sir. Please.
Good day, my respected colleague, Dr. Muhammad Arham from Jakarta. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody, respected attendees today, and respected students from your university. I don't know the pronounce of your university, Pertamina, yeah?
Yes, Pertamina.
Pertamina, yeah.
Pertamina is a state-owned oil company in Indonesia,
okay.
Professor.
Okay, very interesting. And I am so happy, and it's a great honor for me to do a cooperation with your university and hold a speech today for you regarding future concerns. Yes, these days we are going to face with many different challenges, crises, and problems. And if you look at this maybe 20 years, you can see we did not have, sometimes we could say we had nice and positive issues. Since 2019, we are busy, at the end of 2019, we are busy with the COVID-19 pandemic. And since February, almost 1 month ago, we are busy with the war in Ukraine. And you can see all these problems could make some negative consequences of our life and businesses. That's why during these years, I tried to do research, practical studies about future concerns for forecasting, preventing, and how to get ready to face with them. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic about future through my fifth wave theory and using a model I have called 7 pillars of sustainability, or 7Ps. Before I start this speech, I would like to take this opportunity and say again, thank you so much, respected colleague Dr. Mohammad Arham, and thank you the other colleagues from your universities because of making this opportunity for me to do cooperation and communication with you and your university and your people. I'm going to share my PowerPoint with you now. Is it visible, my screen, Dr. Arham?
Yes, we can now see your presentation, Professor.
Very good. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen with you and start. Forecasting the future based on impact of 7Ps model through the fifth wave theory in COVID, post-COVID-19 era. And I am Hamid Dost Mohammadian, a professor for international sustainability and senior futurist in Germany. Today is Saturday, 26th of March, 2022. 10 a.m. German time and almost 16 Jakarta time. Now, based on my research studies and different projects, analyzing of different articles, case studies, we obtained the following results. You can see in this table, cultural sustainability scored 3.0, 7Ps infrastructure and development 4.2, data and information with a focus on 7Ps condition 3.7, information security and diplomacy for influencing imagination, and D3, which is decarbonization, digitalization, and decentralization 4.7, and environmental sustainability, social cohesion, human resource competencies, and business economy 3.3. Dr. Arham, I have a question. How can I, make this logo of Zoom somewhere, because it's exactly on my PowerPoint and I cannot see my PowerPoint. Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you, Professor. Okay, so you cannot see your own presentation, yes?
Yeah, this menu from Zoom is on my PowerPoint now.
Okay.
Now it's gone. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. My research and study, we had 3 points: key question, key result, and key impact. I'm going to talk about key question. How to map a future scenario to apply these theories, concepts, and models to evaluate the results for forecasting, preventing, and facing the consequences of COVID-19 pandemic. Key results: a 7Ps, blue-green sustainability and digital readiness and recovery for today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis. Key impact: make the world a better place for living with high 7PS blue-green sustainability impacts. I'm going to show you some of the research we did in this case, the result of research I did. In 2022, IEEE Learning Conference about MOOCs, the fifth wave and sustainability plus theories as solutions for social education consequences of COVID-19. Actually, this article was very successful since October 2020 until now. This article got so good feedback. You can see in this, this is a screenshot from IEEE website, 729 full text view since 2020, October. The next article in this case was Digital Transformation in Academic Society and Innovative Ecosystems in the World Beyond COVID-19 Pandemic with using 7PS model for Internet of Things. In 2022, next week, I have also some speeches about future concern and education in the educational conference for IEEE 2022 from 28 to 31st of March. One of my articles in this conference is Mapping the Future Sustainable through the Theory of Comprehensive Everything, or the Fifth Wave Tomorrow Age Theory. Another name of this theory is Theory of Comprehensive Everything, with a focus on hybrid small medium-sized enterprises or SME5 educationally. Because according to email communication with Dr. Arham, we have decided to focus on education in this speech. Another article of this conference I have next week is Smart Governance for Educational Sustainability, Hybrid SME, and the Fifth Wave Theory toward mapping the future education in post-COVID era. Another article also in this conference is about cyber government for sustainable governance, examining solutions to tomorrow's crisis and implications through the Fifth Wave Theory, Education 5.0 concept, and 9 PSG model, which is 9 pillars of sustainable governance, and development of a readiness assessment framework for tomorrow's small medium-sized enterprises, or small medium-sized enterprises 5.0, for adapting the educational component for the future of Industry 4.0. And also I am in this conference keynote speaker. And also I have a special session in this conference about mapping the future education through the Fifth Wave Theory, or Tomorrow Age Theory, or Theory of Comprehensive Everything. Last year, 2 years ago in 2020, in August, I had also a speech in London Institute of Skill Development in UK about contagion of the COVID-19, a challenge or crisis, forecasting the tomorrow's crisis by using the Fifth Wave Theory. Introduction. Nowadays, we passed the first, second, third, and fourth waves or ages. Before 1970s, various businesses could affect and improve IT technologies and economy. Since we reached the 70s and with the beginning of the third wave or post-industrial era, which is a theory of Alvin Toffler in 1970s in USA, the new modern technologies such as information technology, Internet of Things, Internet of Business, Internet of Energy, Internet of Manufacturing, Internet of Health, the emerging digitalization, and innovative smartness, in addition, issues such as know-how, do-how, artificial intelligence, and other could influence businesses, economy, urban infrastructures, societies, social impacts, and even human lives. Large cities are sensitive to challenges like pollution, lack of infrastructure, economic shifts, and health crises. You could see during the corona how the large cities, countries got influenced by this kind of problems. 3 technological revolutions are shaping the dawn of 21st century, which called D3 revolution: decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization. Aim. The aim of this speech is discussion of health and contagion of COVID-19 by implementation of the fifth wave theory and the related theories and concepts and models for tomorrow's society for the future of business revolution. This also aims to cover the impact of fourth technologies on tomorrow's business, including the large-scale development of IoT, the employment of big data and machine learning for tomorrow's business forecasting, the use of cloud platforms for the control of smart cities, and the new cyber risk for this sector. The fifth wave theory is about readiness to change into a new age we are just entering, and it forecasted a crisis, and presently we are inside the COVID-19 crisis. The COVID-19 pandemic is changing our society on diverse dimensions, not only economy, also social level. Before 1970s, as I said, various businesses and economy could affect improved technologies and related industries. In this speech, we will discuss how fifth wave theory, I-Sustainability Plus theory, could help us for a readiness to forecast, prevent, and face with the consequences of COVID-19. Content of this speech would be fifth wave theory, or tomorrow age theory, or theory of comprehensive everything, forecasting the future, 7PS model, contagion caused by COVID-19, forecasting the future based on impact of 7PS model through the fifth wave theory in COVID, post-COVID-19 era, sustainability and conclusion and consulting. Fifth wave theory, tomorrow age theory, or theory of comprehensive everything, and related theories, concepts, and models. Actually, I have introduced, invented, and developed this theory since 2010. And after 2020, when we had the corona, I got so many suggestions from different universities, institutions in worldwide in different countries, regarding to establishing a conference regarding this theory, the fifth wave theory. And at the end, we did one 3-day conference in October 13, 14, 15 in London, with the cooperation with some different institutions, universities, and our university in Germany. And the conference called the Fifth Wave Tomorrow Age Theory International Conference. We have started this conference, but something like 8 months before the conference, we have started to have weekly webinars to discuss about different aspects of this theory with different professors, experts, and people they had expertise in this case. For example, we did about political approach of this theory with Professor George Ditche from German Parliament. Regarding to cultural aspect with Mr. Huub Worsten, associate partner of Hoestede Institute in Netherlands. About economy approach, I did alone. About social approach, I did with Professor Dr. Kanes Raja, Executive Director Center for Center Executive and Professional Development, London. And he was also advisor for the government of Malaysia. Regarding environmental approach, I did a speech with Professor Dr. Stefan Loffar from Copenhagen Business School, Denmark. And regarding technological approach, I did with Professor Dr. Caster Duman from Germany. And in general, about sustainability with Professor Dr. Volker Wittberg, who is our vice president at our university. Now I'm going to introduce you the fifth wave tomorrow age theory and related theories, modern and concepts, invented, introduced, developed by me since 2010 to 2017. Here you see this theory, overview of this theory, and I'm going to start to talk about this for you. If you look at this overview, you will see we have started different issues since 70,000 years ago. For example, in 70,000 years ago, we had cognition revolution. And people, they try to understand different aspects of human life and human intelligence. And then almost 10 to 13,000 years ago, we had the second revolution, which I call it in my theory, agriculture revolution. It was about power of human to develop villages, cities, with using animals and lands. After that, almost 500 years ago, we had the scientific revolution because of going to use power of human to knowledge and science. During the scientific revolution, in 300 years ago, we had industrial revolution. And you can see here, almost 100 years ago, we had the first business and economic revolution. And after 2020, we had the second business and economic revolution. At the end, you can see today we are going to face with different issues. I made a model for these different issues with the focus on 3 aspects. And I call this model KTB model, which is focusing on knowledge, business, and technology. You can see this model in a cube. Here, I'm showing you this revolution, as I said, since 70,000 years ago, cognition revolution, 13 to 10,000 years ago, agricultural revolution, 500 years ago, scientific revolution, and during scientific revolution, 300 years ago, industrial revolution, 100 years ago, business and economic revolution, the first one, and after 2020, the second business and economic revolution for tomorrow's society and businesses based on IoT, leading to the concept of Internet of Business, which is using IoT in business. You can see here overview of these revolutions since 70,000 years ago until today. And at the end, you can see future of society 5.0, which I call it in my theory society 6.0, and future of industry 4.0, which I call it industry 5.0. Now we are going to look at this theory with another aspect, society. When we go to 70,000 years ago, pre-wave period, we have society 1.0, which I call it hunting society. And then during the agriculture age, I call it society 2.0, which is agriculture society. In 300 years ago, 500 years ago, when we had the scientific and industrial revolution, I call it society 3.0, which is industrial society. 100 years ago, when we had the business revolution, the first business revolution, and then after First, Second World War, we had society 4.0, which is about information society and post-industrial society, which happened after Second World War and during the Cold War between Soviet Union and USA, and Erwin Toffler in 1970s talk about this age like, or wave like post-industrial age or information society. And then in 21st century, we had society 5.0, which is a concept evaluated by Japan government, which is about super smart society. And in my theory, we are going to have tomorrow's society, which I call it society 6.0. Now I'm going to look at this theory with another aspect, industry. First development happened 70,000 years ago. Pre-industrial period, I call it industry 0.0, is about fire, light, wheels industry that was completely base. After 17th century, we had the first industrial revolution, which I call it industry 1.0. It's about chemical machines, steam power, some basic industries. In 18th century, the second industrial revolution happened, and I call it industry 2.0, which is about mass production, assembly line, electric energy, transistor, TV, radio. And then during the Cold War and after Cold War, we had the third industrial revolution, which I call it industry 3.0. It's about computers, internet, electronic, and automation. And today we are in fourth industrial revolution, or industry 4.0, which is the topic from German government, is about digital transformation, cyber physical system, network, smartness, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, neural network, digitalization, bioinformatics, hybrid knowledge, virtual reality, ubiquitous, which is a topic, a concept and practical project in South Korea, genetic, sustainability, energy saving, and smart, small, medium-sized enterprises. And according to my theory, for tomorrow's industry, we have industry 5.0, and this is future of industry 4.0. If we look at this theory regarding businesses. And as we know, the most important business in the world is a small, medium-sized enterprise. And Germany is one of the leading countries in this business. You can see during Industry 3.0, we had a small, medium-sized enterprise 3.0. I call it a small, medium-sized enterprise in 3.0. Today, we are with a small, medium-sized 4.0. And tomorrow's, we are going to have a new concept, which is a small, medium-sized enterprise 5.0. I have developed so many models, theories in this regard, and I have published articles, books about a small, medium-sized 5.0, which is a new concept for having an ideal business for the future. Here you can see the histomap of this theory, and I'm going to show you. In this histomap, you can see all these topics I explained for you: society, industry, wave, revolution, in different years: 70,000 years ago, 30,000 years ago, 500 years ago, in 17th century, 18th century, and what happened during the Cold War between Soviet Union and USA, and what we are going to do today and also tomorrow. Now I'm going to explain a little bit more about my theory. The fifth wave tomorrow age, or theory of comprehensive everything. It's about modern business and future of business. And it's about the first age of tomorrow, which I call it the first age of tomorrow from 2020 to 2030. This is combination of future of industry 4.0, as I already introduced you. I call it industry 5.0. And the businesses, in this case, I call it a new concept, a small, medium-sized enterprises 5, or SME 5, or hybrid SMEs, or tomorrow's SMEs, as tools to prepare for future crisis or shock and tomorrow's readiness. For what? With which aim? To make the world a better place for living. What? The fifth wave theory is about proceeding of future of industry 4.0, which I call it industry 5.0. But here is very interesting point, as a symbol of West with the cultural approach. And proceeding of future of society 5.0, which I call it society 6.0, as a symbol of non-West. The reason I did this, because one of the problems we have today is focusing on cultures, cultural differences, and doing some, conflict. Because we need to find the conflict and find solutions for them. In this speech, I'm going to show you a theory I have, which called DCT, or Dus Cultural Theory, how to do cultural adaptation. Because as you know, since 1993 and 96, Professor Samuel Huntington in Harvard published an article and book about clash of civilization. And that's about culture and different groups of people. Because in the future, we are not going to have, decision about the future life, future business with political approach. The cultural approach can dominate all points. That's why you can see in my theory, I'm talking about symbol of West and symbol of non-West. It is introduced to support all businesses, especially small, medium-sized enterprises, as I said. First of all, forecast. Secondly, prevent and face today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis. In one conference in 2020, September 2020, the 8th World Sustainability Forum, I was keynote speaker in that conference, and I had some articles. And in one of my articles, I talk about sustainability with this West and non-West approach, with focus on culture to technology. You can see Industry 4.0, as you know, from German view, is a Western concept like digitalization in Germany. And Society 5.0 is the non-West concept, same as ubiquitous, which evaluated by Japan government, and ubiquitous, as I said, from South Korea. You can see in the model in the right side, we have for West, I put two group of countries, Germany and Scandinavian countries, and for non-West, I put South Korea and Japan. Now I'm showing you this model with the details. If you look at the West, Scandinavian countries and Germany, but we look at West with technology. Infrastructure technology, so good in the Scandinavian countries. Sustainable mobility, one of the best in the world. Waste and wastewater management, one of the best in the world. I have been living some years in Copenhagen, and I have experience in the field of sustainability with the focus on mobility, waste management, environment, economy, and social system. That's why I saw what they do to get this success. It's very interesting because people, they think countries, they are on top, they do something very different, but actually it's not like this. They do something simple, but they believe what they do. Renewable energy technologies, Scandinavian countries, they are always in top 10 innovative economy in the world. Bicycle technologies, Denmark and the Scandinavian countries, they are one of the best. Educational technology, they are one of the best. And public transport technologies. And you know, in the Scandinavian country, they put so much effort on public transport and bicycle because they want to reduce the, the CO2 emission to have sustainable cities. Now I'm going to talk about Germany. The base of Industry 4.0, automotive and car technology is one of the best. SME management is leading for small, medium-sized enterprises. Infrastructure technology, very good. Vocational training, one of the best. Digitalization is part of Industry 4.0. The most innovative economy of the world. And for example, Deutsche Bahn or the train system in Germany is one of the best train system in Europe. Now I'm going to non-West to compare the technology with the non-West cultural approach. South Korea, ubiquitous technology, which is evaluated by South Korea, but actually this is very interesting because this theory, ubiquitous, was from a professor from my country because I'm originally from Iran. Professor from my country, he already started to have this idea in Iran, and then he traveled to South Korea, and then the government there, they supported him to do this project with Hitachi company in Japan. The second innovative economic in the world after Germany, but maybe if we go to update information today, maybe South Korea is first. But always South Korea and Germany, they are first and second in the innovative economy of the world. Automotive and car technology, very good. Infrastructure technology also, as you know, for example, internet in South Korea is one of the best in the world. Japan, the concept society 5.0 evaluated by Japan government, automotive and car technology so good, infrastructure technology also good. If we look at these 2 points as a future of industry 4.0 for West symbol, future of society 5.0 as non-West symbol, in my theory, we can do interdisciplinary technologies and theories. Hybrid small, medium-sized enterprises, which I introduce you in next slides. Sustainability plus theories also will introduce you in next slides. And the fifth wave theory to get readiness for tomorrow's shocks. You can see after that we prepare for tomorrow's shocks like wars, low sustainability, sanctions, and etc. And today you see we have war. And what happened in so many countries, they got some consequences for economy, some problems because of the situation, and so many other social problems. Making the world a better place for living is aim of this theory. Okay, now I'm going to show you some of the research results I did. In this case, I talk to you now. I published an article in 2020 called A Sustainability Plus Theory as an Innovative Path Towards Sustainable World Founded on Blue-Green Ubiquitous Cities. And I did research 2 case studies, Denmark because of West culture and South Korea because of non-West. And that was very interesting to discuss about this in this article in MDPI journal from 2 different cultural approach. And that was journal called Inventions, and I published this in journal Invention in March 2020, almost 2 years ago. And then the next article I did in this case was Blue-Green Smart Mobility Technologies as Readiness for Facing Tomorrow's Urban Shocks Toward the World a Better Place for Living. And case study was Songo in South Korea because of Ubiquitous project, and Copenhagen in Denmark. You can see again, my case study, they are from West and non-West to do comparative study. That was in the journal, MDPI journal, Technology in Switzerland. Then for digital transformation, we always need to have a cultural change from traditional mindset to digital mindset. Then culture is infrastructure and foundation. I need to tell you something because 2 weeks ago, I published a book called Cultural Management. And in this book, they wanted to make interview with me about introducing my book. I said, until 2010, I thought a strategy is so important and is one of the most important topics in management and humanity sciences. But after I read a text from Peter Drucker, that changed my idea. He wrote culture, its strategy for breakfast. And I thought, oh my God, look, culture is so important. And the strategy in front of culture is just breakfast. Then I have started to do research on culture and cultural sustainability. Then I found so many models and developed them. And culture was always foundation and infrastructure. And you can see in my theory, the aim of my theory is make the world a better place for living. And the backbone of this theory is culture. And culture means people, human. In this case, I am going to show you some of the results of my research on culture. I published a book called An Overview of International Cross-Cultural Management. Also, another book, Global Management, Corporate Responsibility, about cultural management. These are in Germany. Now, we are going to talk about the theory where today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis, like COVID-19. Based on I have a book I'm going to publish soon in USA called The Fifth Wave Theory. In this book, I have a chapter about COVID-19. And I said, many people, they say COVID-19 is so bad, so many disadvantages, but actually we have also advantages. Because I call COVID-19 super accelerator in my book. Because COVID-19 could be like a super accelerator to push us to be so fast and have impacted at the level of knowledge, technology, and business. And I already showed you this model KTB in my theory. Main topic of fifth wave theory is measure the readiness to change into a new age we are just entering. As I said, combination of future of Industry 4, which is Industry 5 as a symbol of West, plus future of Society 5, which is symbol of non-West, called Society 6, together. Why and aim? To provide societies blue-green sustainability, which was a concept I made in 2017, I will show you, in Switzerland, innovative digital readiness, recovery, and corporate social responsibility strategies. By focus on corporate social responsibility 1, which is corporate social responsibility, and CSR 2.0, which is corporate sustainability and responsibility, and also CG, corporate governance. This is my special issue in 2019 in Switzerland called Blue-Green Sustainability and Tomorrow's Shots. How? And using innovative infrastructures, open innovation, implementation, development, and application of future of 4 technologies, which is, I call it in my theory, 5 technologies, that influence, change, and improve education and training, as well as our lives. This is another special issue I made in 2020 in Journal of Open Innovation Technology Market called Innovation Under Restrictions, Hybrid Small Medium-Sized Enterprises and Fifth Wave Theory. Because this kind of restriction, as I said in my book, like Corona, I call it they are super accelerator, and always under restriction people do innovation. Impact of the theory. The Fifth Wave Theory expected impact is on health care system reinforced, which I call it in my theory welfare 5.0. I have a chapter in my book about this, which focus on social aspects and health. New opportunities for affected citizens to be employed created. Citizens basic services enhanced. I call it in my book Urban 6.0, which focus on utopia concept. New opportunities for small medium-sized enterprises to achieve cultural sustainability. World economies more resistant and sustainable. This is another special issue I had in Journal of Urban Science, Utopia and the Fifth Wave Theory. urban 6.0 as a solution for today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis. You can see my researches, I use always my theory as infrastructure and use in different sectors: urban sciences, businesses, education, society, environment. Result of the theory. The expected result of the fifth wave theory to create communities, societies, cities, businesses, and education capable of tackling future concerns. The fifth wave theory is based on some other theories, concepts, and models. For example, 7 pillars of sustainability model, 7PS, which is using in our speech today, I sustainability plus theories, DOOS cultural theory, and SME 5.0 concept, which I introduce you in next slides. Based on my fifth wave theory, sustainability has more pillars than 3 pillars aspect from United Nations. Because in United Nations, they have just 3 pillars: social, environmental, and economy. But in my research, I put 4 more pillars and said 7 pillars. Then 7 pillars, in addition, peace and love. Why? Because today we have problems because we don't have any peace and we don't understand love. Many people, they say, what means love? And they try to find love in another person. But love actually, according to Rumi, is not the only emission. Love is our very existence. Then that means we need to develop sustainability and prioritize them in order and as follows. Culture is the first priority as foundation, as I said before. Environment is second, social third, economy fourth. And then beside, parallel, we need to have technique, education, and politicians, they should support us for making regulation and law. In addition, as I said, peace and love. 7 pillars of sustainability model. I made this model with 7 pillars, as I said, and then I made a spider diagram to calculate sustainability. For example, here you can see after calculation, as I said, culture is the foundation of this model. And after calculation, you can see all factors in these 7 factors, they can influence each other. According to the situation, they can have different ratio. Sometimes social is so important, sometimes economy, sometimes environment, but in general, culture is foundation, environment second, social third, economic fourth. One of the problems we have today in the world, we cannot make the world a better place for living, is we just focus on economy. And we just think about benefit. No social responsibility, no environmental friendly. Then 7 factors, in addition, peace and love. In my model, cultural points are behind sustainability. The small, medium-sized enterprises are socially oriented, internally and externally. Then we need to make a balance between these internal and external perspectives. Some of the pillars are as foundation. As I said, culture, politics, education, social, and environment. Now I'm going to talk about sustainability plus theory. This is a theory I made, and in this theory, we are going to make trinity of open innovation, sustainability, and future of 4 smart technologies. That's why I call it sustainability plus. I is innovation, sustainability 7PS, and plus means future of technologies. This cultural theory is another theory, and regarding mapping and having a sustainable future and make the world a better place for living, the 5th wave sustainability plus theories can help and support us to be able for our small, medium-sized enterprises, for example, in educational sector, which is focus of our speech today, to achieve sustainability with using 7 pillars of sustainability model and the other models like 9 PSG model, 9 pillars of sustainable governance. Maybe if we do the next speech or webinar with your university, I'm going to have a speech about this, using this model for showing you how education and governors, they can have role for sustainability in the countries for the future concern. To get ready for the future concern at the edge of tomorrow, which is the first edge, according to my theory, from 2020 to 2030. Here you can see this theory with the 3 indexes: knowledge, know-how, do-how, cultural adaptation, and cultural differences, which I provided from 2012 to 2017. According to this theory, I have in cultural differences different models from Professor Hoestede, Victor, Triponars, Hall, and Globe. And for the cultural adaptation, we have the 7PS factor for competencies like social, environmental, cultural, economy, education, technique, and political competencies. We have also communication competencies, digital culture transformation, legal points, in cultural, intercultural transformation, and predisposition, and cross-cultural shock. And for know-how and do-how, we have language, visible culture, and invisible culture. Our topic today is not culture, but when we talk about visible culture, is the part of culture we can see, like iceberg of culture is almost less than 30%, like language, like food, dress. And invisible culture is more than 70%, the part of iceberg under the water we cannot see, like belief, religion, and why not, why, and this kind of philosophical points. According to this theory, I used data analysis and also multiple regression to do cultural adaptation for the companies, businesses, and business owners. This model, as I said, since 2012 to 2017, I made it. Now I'm going to talk about impact of the fifth wave theory. Healthcare system, as I said, welfare 5.0, new opportunities for employees, urban 6, and cultural sustainability, which is the foundation. Conclusion. In the fifth wave theory, we have a new concept about tomorrow's environment and ecosystem and a small, medium-sized enterprises. I call it for tomorrow, society 6, and for business, a small, medium-sized enterprise 5.0 or hybrid SME. In this case, we need to make priority for them. First of all, focus on environmental responsibility. Secondly, social cohesion. And third, economic efficiency. You can see I made a 3D model, a cube with 3 indexes. A small, medium-sized enterprise with the focus on social, with the focus on environmental, and with the focus on economy. Then you can see we have 3 different surfaces. If we want to make priority, the first one would be environmental responsibility, which is one of the most important topics. Because as I said, in the 3 revolution, we have decarbonization. And if we cannot manage it, then in the near future, we don't have livability situation for having sustainability. The second one is social cohesion. And the last one is economic efficiency. As I said, the problem we have today is just to focus on economy and benefit. According to this model, hybrid SMEs, they just not focus on business economy, also focus on CSR, social responsibility, environmental friendly, energy resourcing, and resource saving, and also future planning. In this case, in my concept, a small, medium-sized enterprise 5.0 or hybrid SME or tomorrow SME, I made 14 aspects. And I said these SMEs, they have to have, and they are these 14 factors. And you can see in the model and in the left side. Based on this 3D socio-eco-environmental model I showed you, they focus at first on environmental responsibility, and then social cohesion, and then economic efficiency. They are digital and smart. Larger and small, medium-sized enterprises with 250 to 500 members of staff, they have more opportunities. They are innovative. They have the SMEs, they are working in industry and industry-related services. They have more chance. They are focusing on SMEs culture and digital culture, which is foundation. They are sustainable. They are blue, green, and clean economy. They focus on future planning. Also, corporate sustainability responsibility, corporate social responsibility, and corporate governance. They focus on HR, talent, competencies, qualifications, skills, and training. I did research about this case because of EQ and conversational intelligence. I'm going to publish an article in this case, EQ and conversational intelligence, how they can help HR to focus on this case to prepare for future concern. Maybe this can be also one idea for next webinar with you. Succession planning focus on Internet of Business, and focus on the three revolution: decarbonization, the digitalization, and decentralization. Result of my research about SME: I published 3 books in this regard: Global SMEs, Volume 1, Sustainable, Smart, Innovative Global SMEs; Volume 2, Small, Medium-Sized Enterprises 4.0 to gain sustainability and sustainable development globally; a small, medium-sized enterprise in energy sector; and I got supported from my colleagues in my university, Professor Dr. Richard Merck and Professor Dr. Volker Wittberg. I have to say, University of Applied Science FHM in Germany is one of the most famous university in the world in the field of small, medium-sized enterprises. And you can see the name of university is Fachhochschule des Mittelstand, and the word Mittelstand in German language means medium-sized. They focus on small, medium-sized enterprises, and the philosophy of this private university is preparing and training students for being potential employees for the small, medium-sized enterprises in Germany. Conclusion: business economy is transferring from a traditional to innovative data and blue-green cultural sustainable business economy. We have concept Internet of Business. That means the world economy has changed from a business economy to a data and business economy, leading to a concept Internet of Business. Also, we have tomorrow society, or society 6. The society and city economy has changed from a society and urban economy to a data and urban economy, leading to a new concept, as I said, society 6 or urban 6, which I have in my theory. Some questions. Now, I ask you some questions. At the end, we do discussion about this question. When does the outbreak of COVID-19 end, and when we do return to the normal? Is the contagion of COVID-19 a challenge or a global crisis or shock? And the last question, how would be the future? This question is about COVID-19. Then in next slide, I'm going to talk about COVID-19. Future. The fifth wave theory able to forecast the future. I'm showing you the crisis chain according to my theory for the future. We have a chain of crises and challenges. If we want to prepare for the future, we need to split them, not let them to merge together. The first chain is contagion of COVID-19 we have today. Second one is economic shift. Now we are busy in many countries, many businesses busy with these economic problems, social problems, cultural risks, political risks, environmental risks, and the other risks. You know, these risks, they are all based on the model 7Ps. Also, I'm going to show you which kind of crisis we are going to face. But that, you know, I forecasted in 2010. And now that would be very interesting for you to see this crisis. You can see since 2020, we have started to face with this kind of challenges and crises. The first wave was risk of contagion of COVID-19. Second one, crisis of contagion and the other biological attack. And hybrid warfare is always there under this ocean. Means different war like soft war, velvet revolution, cognitive warfare, and hard war. And today we have war, a hard war, real war in Europe. Next one, after COVID-19 and biological attack, we are going to face with risk caused by the economic shift, and little bit after, caused by recession because of high inflation and social problem. Hybrid warfare is always there. Next risk, after COVID-19, biological attack, economic shift, recession, we have high greenhouse gas emission and climate pollution. This would be a big risk maybe after 2023, 2024. And we need to be really careful about this because this is something to make the world non-livable. And crisis caused by climate change. You can see now many different countries, they have different problems. You can, because of my, international activities. I communicate with many people, different countries, and I can see they say, for example, during the winter they don't have snow. Sometimes during the summer they have snow. That means we have a very strong climate change, and that can be a alarm to us to prepare for a future concern in this case. And heartbeat warfare is always there. But what is the most important crisis for the future concern in my theory? As I said, first one was COVID-19 risk, biological attack, economic shift, recession, social problems, high greenhouse gases emission and climate change, climate pollution. Technological risk is also very dangerous. Maybe after 2025, we are facing with technological problems because today we have artificial intelligence, digitalization, future of digitalization, so good. But if we cannot control this technology, they are going to be dangerous because they can dominate us. I just give you some examples. We watched, since I was a child, I like to watch and read the books and movies about science fiction topics. And always I thought, why they should show something like this? If you remember, Dr. Michael Crichton, he published a book called Jurassic Park, and then after that they make some movies from this book. And he's talking about the future park they make with high genetic science dinosaurs, and then they cannot control them and they eat the people. Then this is right. This is, symbol of technology when we cannot control them. Or if there are some famous robots in the world, one of them is called Sophia. When they make in the interview with her for the future, she said, I like to dominate people, but people, they created me, I'm friend with them and put them in people zoo. Now maybe we laugh to these things, but in the near future, those things can be very dangerous and big crisis for us. But we have also something after technological problem, and this is biodiversity collapse. If this happened until 2030, that means no tomorrow, because we are going to end our life. I hope this theory can help us to prepare us for the future concern and make the world a better place for living. And hybrid warfare is always there. We have today war. Okay, now I'm showing you these waves in one slide: other biological attack, recession, climate change, biodiversity collapse, technological problem, and war. Contagion caused by COVID-19. Today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis because of COVID-19. Now I'm talking about the world after Corona. Here is a photo of Matthias Horst, is a futurist in Germany, and he did some research with his colleagues at the German Institute for Future Research, and he published a book in German language called Die Zukunft nach Corona, which means the world after Corona. And this book has been widely reported in the German media. He said in his book, Corona era will not end. We never back to normal because we are in one of the historical period called deep crisis. And this period can change the course of the future, and we are now in this position. Dieter Zitsche, the former CEO of Mercedes-Benz in 2017, also tried to forecast the future, and that's very interesting, and I will show you. He said the Benz most important competitors in the future would not be car companies. The first one is there, second one tax, and the last one mobile applications. Why? Because Benz competitors are not car companies, as I said, but today, for example, Apple, Google, Cisco, and mobile application, they can be competitor of Benz company. Why? Because of this opportunity. For example, Uber, which does not actually own a car, but is one of the largest software-based taxi company of the world, which doesn't have any car, doesn't have any driver. But what they do, they use all resources to give service to us, and they get benefit. Airbnb company, does not own any house, but is one of the largest software-based renting place company of the world. Maybe you have some example in your country. Also, I have in my country some mobile companies, they came to the business, and so many traditional business, they have to end. There will be an 80% reduction in shipping. In this way, human will not be involved in car pollution in the future and will spend more time for fun and enjoyable time, indulgence, because there will be no traffic to waste our time. Mr. Diche. He said, as a result, we will see an 80% reduction in transportation, and insurance company, they are going to get a big bankrupt because of two reasons. Number one, reduction of transportation activities. Number two, artificial intelligence help us to forecast the future. Then we don't need any insurance. For example, today, the smart cars, they can get information from the satellite, then they know where is traffic, where is accident, then they change the route, and then you don't have risk of this kind of problems. Artificial intelligence, along with the new information system, can also help farmers to provide 99% information on water consumption, so that modern agriculture can replace traditional high-cost agriculture. You remember, in my theory, we started 70,000 years ago with agricultural revolution. We have still agriculture, but with artificial intelligence. Digital money or information replaces today's banknotes and coins. So digital money could play an important role in the world in the future. And finally, tourism hotel business is one of the only physical businesses can get a big problem and affect by Corona in the future. Now I'm showing you a result of my research before and after Corona regarding these kind of problems and using different models through the fifth wave theory. I have 12 results. Number one, the world will change. Number two, behavior will change. Number three, humanity will return. Number four, the economy after the contagion will still alive and breathing. Number five, the authority and power of most technologies companies. Today, without Zoom, we could not make this conference or this webinar. Number six, contagion or outbreak of COVID-19 and reconciliation with technologies. Number seven, privacy risk, data security, and health risk. Because today, more than 80% of companies, they try to go on online platform, then they have problem of data security. Also, because we are doing home office, we have risk for our health because we don't have movement, we are at home, we don't have social communication. Mentally and physically, we get problems. When we eat more, no physical movement, then we get fat and health problem. Intensification of domestic economic shift crisis. Number 9, strengthening bonds between people because of understanding values that already existed. During the Corona, for almost 2 years, I could not travel to my country to visit my family. 10, the provision of the health and medical care is evolving. Sorry. Medical doctors, nurses, and pharmacists on the front line. 11, resumption of world trade, and the last one, to regain the opportunity for living in a better way and prosper the economy. Then the world in COVID-19, post-COVID-19 era. Number 1, according to Matthias Hawkes, we never back to normal. According to my research, we are going to a new paradigm. Of course, not back to the time before Corona, but to a new normal. In my book, The Fifth Wave Theory, when I talk about Corona as super accelerator, I say we are going to a new normal. How to make the new world a better place for living. The contagion by COVID-19 did not change the direction, but changed the speed to be faster for new scenarios, technologies, and application. In my fifth wave theory book, I already told you, in chapter COVID-19, I named contagion caused by COVID-19 as super accelerator. After 1970s, the post-industrial era, a series of events took place in the world, especially in the last 20 years. Why, when, how this happened? The COVID-19 was beginning of this event because of being accelerator to push us to be faster. We had also before, like role of the World War First or International Second World War or Cold War between Soviet and United States on the advancement of technology. I have started since 15 years ago to publish a book regarding consequences of different wars in our lives, especially in 20th centuries. And in this book, since 15 years I'm writing, I talk about different consequences, advantages and disadvantages of wars as a big crisis and pressure, restriction to people to make them innovative and push them like super accelerator. The contagion of COVID-19 based on theories of algebra and the cycle of history also can act like a super accelerator to force the world faster and more flexible. Then businesses must be faster, available, more customer friendly, cheaper, and more changeable. According to my 7PS model, in seven different factors, COVID-19 could have different consequences. For example, economy. We saw recession, inflation, social. We saw people, they could not see each other in person. Environmentally, we had some disadvantage and advantage. For example, during the second lockdown, because of reduction of 80% transportation, some factories, the weather was better. We had reduction of CO2 emission. Politically, new international relation in civilization and new model of diplomacy because different countries try to help each other, how to make hospitals so fast, how to make vaccination and etc. Educationally, because since 30 years ago, we have started to use e-learning, then education was one of the points they could use this kind of online platform to continue their businesses. Maybe the productivity was less, but still they could keep continuing. Technically, distance working and online learning was really important, and that was the power and authority of the technologies. The fifth wave theory, or tomorrow's age theory, is a theory to help us to prepare us for the future concern, businesses, societies, cities, and urbans. Now I'm going to show you a research result from UK. What is the biggest risk to society in the next 2 years? In this research, they did 2 years research about this kind of problem, and then they found different results. According to their interviews and surveys, almost 347 risk analysts, they found different risks. They put them in 5 categories: economy, social, environmental, technological, and geopolitical. But the most likely risk to society was economic damage. And that kind of risk could dominate the others. As I said, the most likely risk was economy. And according to this 5 group, which was 31 risks in 5 groups, economy was 10 risks, social 9 risks, geopolitical 6 risks, technological 4 risks, and environmental 2 risks. Economic shift, you can see this table from result of this research in UK. With job losses, felt the world over a recession of a global economy has almost 70% experts feeling worried. Economic shift. For this reason, 38% of surveys response anticipate this may cause this market to collapse. Social problems. With many countries moving to reopen, a few more risks come into play. 21.3% of analysts believe social inequality will be worsened, while 60.4% forecast the national social safety nets could be under pressure. Geopolitical risk. Further restrictions on trade and travel movement are an alarm bell for 48.7% of risk analysts. This relationship will already proud to begin with. In fact, global trade could drop sharply by 13 to 32%, while foreign direct investment (FDI) is projected to decline by an additional 30 to 40% in 2020. Technology overload and technological risk. Technology has enabled a significant number of people to cope with the impact of and spread of COVID-19. Another near to 25% see the threat of rapid automation as a drawback, especially for those in occupations that do not allow for remote work. And environmental problem. As I said, environmentally, we had different risks, but because of lockdown, in some countries, in some cities, we had CO2 emission, reduction of CO2 emission. The greatest concern for this research was the greatest concern for the world from COVID-19, in particular concern around another disease outbreak. 40% people, they thought about another biological attack. A tiger cross-border movement came into 34%, and this is really interesting. On the bright side, many experts are also looking to this recovery as an opportunity for a great reset for our global system. I think this is really interesting because this point has globalization view, and I published an article in 2019 in this case, a study of revolution models and holding a discussion on social, cultural capital, trust, democracy, and velvet revolution as excusing to sustainability. 7PS model, I already introduced you, economy, social, environment, politics, culture, education, technique. I told you culture is base and foundation. In United Nations, we had economy, social, and environment, and I add 4 more points to this model. According to this model, I did calculation, a company before Corona and during Corona. You can see before Corona, the blue spider diagram, and after Corona, the red one. The blue one is more harmonized and bigger. The red one is not harmonized and smaller. That means this Corona could reduce sustainability educationally. That was education institution. Then we have 2 views to sustainability, 7PS model, and also sustainability means livability plus quality of life. Then how to calculate or measure sustainability with this model? We need to identify sustainability pillars and then measure them to decide about sustainability improvement projects to reach sustainable development. According to this model, we need to have these different factors. In this example, I'm going to educational factors: infrastructure, standard, waste, sustainability risk, regulation risk, marketing risk, consumer behavior, competitors, human resources, events, suppliers, distribution, organization, and wrong decision making. After that, we can make a tree for each factor, then calculate sustainability. In this example, I make a tree for you, but focus on education. In this tree, we have a goal, we have some criteria and sub-criteria. How to calculate probability for educational factors? At first, we need to see how much probability we have for this factor educationally. Then we make a questionnaire with minimum 30 people, different people in that educational institution or university, and score them from 1 to 5. We ask these people, these experts, from 1 to 5 and get the probability. We ask them how much this factor can influence sustainability, how much probability you can tell us. You can tell us from 1 to 5. And then we make for each one a sigma. And as I said, probability is between 1 to 5. And we do the same for impact of each factor educationally on sustainability. We ask minimum 30 experts from inside the company and outside the company in the same area, as I said, education. And at the end, we need to also go to ratio of each factor, how much weight they have. Then we make this, because probability and impact, they score between 1 to 5, but ratio we score from 1 to 10. But because this is ratio, people, they studied mathematics, they know for ratio we always need to do normalization. Then we make the ratio from 1 to 10 from experts, and then after that we do the total ratio, and we make normalization. Then social education sustainability measurement is sustainability for each factor educationally, probability of factor, impact of factor, and ratio normal. Then effective educational sustainability is equal sigma probability of each factor times impact of each factor times ratio of each factor after normalization. Effective sustainability, sigma probability, impact, ratio normal. We have also accelerator. Quality of life and livability can also influence that. That's why, if you remember, in that model for a small medium-sized enterprises 5, I said after culture, environmental friendly responsibility is first priority, because without having environmental infrastructure, we don't have livability. Then in this model, you will see how high sustainability and low sustainability we have according probability and impact. The red area, probability impact, they are less. We have low sustainability. Can you please turn off your microphone because of concentration?
Mohon maaf deh. Yes, okay. My apology, Professor.
Everything fine. And in the orange part, we have medium sustainability, and in high sustainability is green part. Then when we score them from 1 to 5, probability and impact can influence that. Dr. Arham, is it possible to stop this voice from? Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Mohon maaf dek.
Teknik sipil. Tuh aku lihat di TikTok katanya teknik sipil.
I have muted everybody, Professor, and I really apologize for this inconvenience. Oh yes.
Socio-edu sustainability as readiness for comprehensive plan to recognize the socio-edu consequences caused by today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis. First of all, we need to identify sustainability. We do sustainability estimation. We do sustainability analysis. We do sustainability evaluation. And we call this box sustainability assessment. We go to a box, a condition. If identify types of sustainability is possible, then we have low sustainability or high sustainability. If it is low, we need to do improvement plan and come back to sustainability assessment. And if it is medium or high, we go to next step, comprehensive sustainable development. If the cost of this comprehensive development is high, we go back again to do sustainability assessment to make the cost reduce. And if not, the cost is normal, we go to 3 aspects. High sustainability, which I show it with blue-green color, and medium sustainability, 1 and 2. Why 1 and 2? Because I will show you in the next slides. Then we design a sustainability plan, implement sustainable management, and operate sustainable management. This is really interesting point in this diagram I made in my theory and model. People always, most of the people, they think implementation and operation, they are the same, but actually they are not the same. And implementation is 1 step before operation. And according to my research, since 2010 to 2018, maybe I can say more than 58% of projects in the field of sustainability, they get failed in implementation part, because they think implementation and operation, they are the same. Then, according to this model to calculate sustainability, we have a 3D diagram. Here we have three indexes: impact 1 to 5, probability 1 to 5, and ratio 1 to 10 after normalization. Then, if probability and impact are low, we have low sustainability, the red part. If probability is low, impact high, we have medium sustainability 1. And if probability is high, impact low, we have medium sustainability 2. And when they both high, we have high sustainability. Then we can see all these 7PS model and the related models together in one slide. Okay, after that, according to that tree, we have the criteria A, B, C, D. After doing these interviews and questions with the people, experts, we have result, and we put the results here. And then we go to the sub criteria, we do calculation according to the model I showed you, and the final calculation, we get 6,88. That was a real project I did in Germany. And discussion can show us if the sustainability is between 0 to 7, sustainability is low. If it's more than 7 to 18, medium, and is more than 18 to 25, is high. According to this case, our sustainability is low, and we need to do improvement project. Then we can use, for example, Excel to see which factor has more impact on sustainability and which factor had low. And in the same model I use in my theory to calculate different consequences of COVID-19 in different businesses with different approaches. Result of some practical projects in education. I published some different books, articles in the field of education with the future concern. One of them was in 2020, IoT education technologies as solution toward SMEs, educational challenges, and Industry 4.0 readiness. That was also in IEEE. I published another article, 2020 in IEEE, the role of Internet of Energy education in the fifth wave theory readiness and its effect on SME 4.0 HR competencies. And another one, also 2020, IoT education policies on national and international level regarding best practice in German small medium-sized enterprises. Actually, that was really, really interesting article because I used the German policies in best practice in IoT education. And in 2019, IoT, a solution for educational management challenges. Then you can see digitalization and technologies, according to my theory, in the near future, they can be a big crisis. But if we can manage them, control them, they can be also a solution. Then with this approach, education has main actors: a student to learn, professor to teach, administrators to manage. Education and IoT also, they have relation. Capability of IoT for education, demonstrators of Internet of Things, educational management, the scope of educational management, web services for IoT, big data storage in cloud for a smart education environment. The scope of educational management is related to development-related goals, planning and implementing the programs, administrations, solving the problems, professional development and evaluation and its consequences. According to my researches and different studies I did in different articles, books, the most important challenge of educational management is related to curriculum, human resources, financial restriction, distance learning, e-learning, cultural challenges, applicable and practical courses, how to trust exams, logistics, quality of curriculum, competitors, gap among theoretical topics and market and industry, changing job market and assessment. IoT application in education, interactive learning, security, educational app, increasing efficiency, and electronic certificates. I show you result of my research in my university, University of Applied Science, FHM, because of IoT infrastructure. During 2012 to 2018, the statistical result of students, they could get job after 2 months graduation was 97.6%. And this is a really big success for one university. And I show you the results and the reasons. Digitalization, ubiquitous learning environment, future-based curriculum, combination of academic, vocational, and applied sciences. We are the only university to focus on these three factors: academic, vocational, and applied science. Serious internship, executive professors, focus on small, medium-sized enterprises, training with entrepreneurship approaches. It promotes thinking and acting entrepreneurially. It supports a holistic development of personality. It causes individual and social benefits. It assures and improves the quality of their services and virtual reality. FHM University has some secret as a German small medium-sized enterprise to get success, and I put them in two aspects: empowering and result. Future-based education curriculum. In the media in Germany, they wrote FHM is not a university for future. It is a university from the future. That's really interesting to show you the future approach of this university. Long-term full-time internship, a strong relationship with German small medium-sized enterprises, multicultural situation. FHM is a university, as I said, from the future, not for the future. Combination of academic, applied science, and vocational training, using educational services for FHM employees too. That means if you are a university, you need to also use these services for your employees. Identify talents, train, coach, lead them to improve their ability, and succession planning. That means this university try to find the talent in the university, train them to make them for the future leader. Focus on German small, medium-sized enterprises and globalization. FHM is a German SME, think globally and act regionally. Using the modern new methods, techniques, and technologies, digitalization, corporate social responsibility, future industry, spin-off, startup, and etc. Skill qualification. HR competencies is really important. I tell you why and show you because of some research results. Optimize the usage of smart cell in business is so important. To find HR chain actors. Reliability is really important. Tools and technology, for example, IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and etc. in Industry 4.0 to capture more data to control them. People to analyze data to control devices not out of standard conditions. For this, we need some kind of competencies in business, HR, technologies, infrastructure to provide the required data for this HR. In this HR, we need to have some expert to do innovation, implementation, development, and apply these technologies to make them businesses smart. Why business HR competence is important? In the next slide, I will show you. I would like to show you the roadmap, what kind of people and competencies we need to use for smart technologies. The cultural factors and HR competencies are the most important challenge in using smart technology. That's why it is important to make this technology simple and user-friendly for HR and public sector to face with tomorrow's crisis, motivate them and show them the benefit. In this case, I need to tell you, when I had one speech about HR competencies, somebody asked me, what is the difference between competency and training? And I said, for example, there is a job position. They want to employ a person with some condition. You have all conditions, PhD degree, experience, and publication, etc. But competency is also one point. And he said, how they can find competency, based on what? I said, according to the research from Harvard Business Review, from more than 200 successful leaders, they found more than 90% of successful leaders, they have high EQ instead of IQ and technology. Then EQ has a very important point. Emotional, EQ and non-EQ, they are different because EQ focuses on emotional factors and IQ intelligent factors. That means they are not from their own genetic, intelligence. They try to learn this EQ. And EQ has 5 components according to psychological research: motivation, social skills, empathy, self-awareness, and self-regulation. 5 component. Then, after 2014, other researchers, they found a new topic in EQ, in social skills, in empathy, in self-regulation, self-awareness, and motivation called conversational intelligence. And in conversational intelligence, they found a group, a little group of people. They have high conversational intelligence and they can communicate with people so good. And that's very important as competencies. Then in your university, in my university, education training, applied science, vocational training, they're all good, but we should not forget competencies. I had a project, I was academic leader for a project, 3 years Erasmus Plus project in European Commission called Internet of Energy Education Qualification from 2017 to 2020. And we had 9 different partners from European countries, but we did research in Germany, Italy, Portugal, and Spain, and we had 512 responded from the surveys, and we found in this research very interesting result. In one question we asked, where do you see the biggest advantage of using these technologies for your organization? 50% people said developing a new business model. Another question was, what kind of innovative, technology services you need to utilize this in your business? They said 47% design a smart application. Another question was, why you don't use this kind of technology in your services and business? They said 48% because lack of technical skills and competencies. That's really interesting. Exactly before this slide, I explained you competencies. That means the reason companies, universities, they don't go to use this technology in the business is they have knowledge, they have degree, but they don't have skills and competencies. And 5%, 6% people, they talk about security concerns. Sustainability. We know the 17 Sustainable Development Goals from United Nations. That was one of the biggest social projects in United Nations. That was almost for 3 years, 80 questionnaire and 7 million people. And they found these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and you know them. And according to my model, sustainability, I calculate this with more factors, not just economy, social, and environment. And in this Sustainable Development Goals help us to make our position and map the future for 2030, according to the bridge I told you in my theory. Factors for sustainability, a changing world, shared value and responsibility, and the last one, risk. Guarantee for sustainable development is using 7Ps sustainability as a key because we focus on 7 factors. I did different publications and special issues. I show you some of them in Switzerland, USA here. Just show you an overview. Blue, Green Sustainability and Tomorrow Shocks in Sustainability Journal. Contagion of Tomorrow Cities Theories, Hybrid View by Sustainability Plus and Fifth Wave Theory, Smart Cities. Future of Business Revolution by Internet of Business IoT Journal. Internet of Energy, New Business Scenarios, Technologies and Application, Electronics Journal. Journal of Open Innovation, Innovation Under Restriction, I already showed you. Applied System Innovation, Hybrid SMEs, HR Competencies Requirement for Innovative Technologies. And in this journal in USA, Science PG Journal, Social Cultural Capital Democracy, CSR, Hybrid Warfare, Excusing to Sustainability by the Fifth Wave Theory, Urban Science Journal, Utopia, and Urban 6.0 Concept for the Future Challenges, and what to do. Now, question is, what shall we do? According to all things I gave you, all my researches, more than 100 books and articles I published, I'm going to combine them and give you a summary. Crisis management processes and strategies. According to the Fifth Wave Theory, global businesses are expected to enter a new phase soon called the recovery opportunity and the boom of the economy in the age of tomorrow. According to my research result, I have divided the challenges and crisis management process and strategy into the 5 steps. Number 1, step of providing healthcare and medical services. Tolerance, a step to achieve stability. steps to regaining the opportunity to live again and prosper the economy, a step of forecasting, preventing, and post-epidemic exposure, and the last one, recovery and reconstruction step. But how? Business sustainability strategy in today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis of COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 era, and recovery strategy for opportunity to prosper the economy are divided to two categories. Number one, content-oriented strategies. Number two, process-oriented strategy. What is content-oriented strategies? Which mostly indirectly change the nature of business by changing the structure, culture, and leadership. Process-oriented strategy, which emphasize the change of operation and core business processes, and are divided to 5 categories. Now we are going to talk about process-oriented strategies. Number 1, strategies for sustainability and continuity of operation the business. Number 2, business modernization strategies. Number 3, business model innovation strategies. Number 4, new business development strategies. Number 5, integrated strategies with the help of innovative sustainability through the 5th wave and sustainability plus theories. Conclusion. Now I'm going to conclude my speech and then give you some points. Before 1970s, education could develop the IoT technologies, and after 1970s, IoT could develop education. In conclusion, IoT's application in business are limitless, and we are already seeing it in some of the smart business today. To clarify the impress of IoT as a solution for business, we introduced some new concepts like IoT, IOB, IoE, artificial intelligence, and etc. Risk mitigation and balance between operational and financial costs. Today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis change. We should not let them to merge. We need to split them. 3 technological revolution, D3, decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization. Having a comprehensive view through the 5th wave theory. We need to look at everything comprehensive. That's why my theory has another name, theory of comprehensive everything. Pay attention to culture, not interdependently and individually, but based on 7 factors of 7PS model: economy, social, environment, technology, education, culture, and politics. Allocate a large part of cultural budget for Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Pay attention to private sector as a performer in the field of culture. Creating enough space and environment for the private sector for competition. Pay attention to the culture as a sustainable infrastructure for other economic issues such as tourism, cultural, political relations, and artistic activities. Culture must be inter-organizational and council managed. The impact of culture and artistic activities in the cyberspace level is not as we have in the physical building level. Cultural readiness for the future concerns such as COVID-19 pandemic to raise the tolerance and using the opinion of experts and researchers. Pay attention to practical scientific knowledge, do-how and know-how. Pay attention to religious and other invisible culture. Pay attention to the role of media, books, articles, and magazines that help this case. Pay attention to 3 revolutions, as I told you before: decarbonization, decentralization, digitalization. Pay attention to today's challenges and tomorrow's crisis. I already told you in 5th wave theory. Having a comprehensive view to everything we have. Pay attention to consequences of different factors, different events. And this procedure will be, of course, different in different culture. That means if I talk about these things, you need to customize them in your culture. Okay, business sustainability strategy I told you. Now I'm going to give you consulting. First of all, thinking globally, acting regionally. Based on 7PS, know-how, do-how, sustainable resources, planning in the world, and active cooperative partner with governments, comprehensive strategy planner, resource managers and energy experts, process facilitators, politicians, universities, researchers, and academic people, small, medium-sized enterprises and institutions, communities, societies, and cities. How? Number one, blue-green sustainable energy, infrastructure, cross-validation, business, marketing, and technological innovation, blue-green sustainable mobility, water resource, and water waste management, blue-green sustainable economy, health, labor, and social welfare security. Thank you so much because of your time, because of your attention, and I hope you enjoyed from my speech. If there are some questions or discussion, I'm available. Thank you, Dr. Arham.
Yes, thank you very much for the interesting speech, Professor Muhammadian. Thank you very much that you have taken the time to elaborate into such details. We have a few questions here from the students. Yeah. We have 3 actually from Gali Safira. Currently, there is a COVID-19 virus that has an impact on all countries in the world. So her question is, has COVID-19 had a major impact on digital transformation and cultural change?
Okay, thank you for this question. If you remember in the presentation, I talked about Corona, and I said in my book, The Fifth Wave Theory, in one chapter, I talk about Corona as super accelerator. That means we cannot look at Corona only with negative approaches, also we have advantages. And one of the most important one is Corona is like super accelerator. And this super accelerator can, help us to be faster. We had e-learning before, but today is so serious. And this digital transformation today is so fast. And as you remember, I gave you 12 results of my researches. One of them was authority and power of these technologies. Today, without this Zoom, we could not do this presentation. Then we have this the digital transformation so fast. But culture is also important because we need to move from traditional culture mindset to digital culture mindset. That means culture is base, culture is infrastructure. And you could remember, according to my speech at the end, when I wanted to conclude my speech, I just focus on culture, 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 and also culture infrastructure for 7 Ps.
All right. Moving to second question. As I know that industrial revolution 4.0 is characterized by the development of smart technology, which is of course very promising. However, such technological development brings some challenges. For example, the availability of employment has now been dominated by advanced technology. My question is, how can we be able to follow the advancement of this technology so as not to miss it? So basically, this question asks, what is the meaning of human being within the context of technological development, especially on the theory of fifth wave? Thank you.
Okay. According to the fifth wave theory, you remember I told you the culture is backbone. And culture backbone means human, people. And also the aim of this theory is make the world a better place for living. When we talk about technology, this student said industry 4.0, then we need to think this technology can make for us in near future, according to this theory, future concern. Then we need to control this technology. We need to learn how to control it to not be out of control, because if technology dominates us, this is dangerous. This is the first point. But according to this question, if we want to see what is the human position, this question depends on different cultures. That's why in my theory, I said future of industry 4.0 plus future of society 5.0. That means West and non-West. Then for this, we need to know, you remember in the conclusion, I said, all these things you need to know in your culture, you need to customize them. They cannot be a solution for everything. Of course not. These are some views, some overview, some future forecasting, but you need to get them customized with your position, with your culture, with your religion, with your visible, invisible culture, and then find the position. That's why, according to this question, the role of human is, of course, base, but according to your place, another place, West, non-West, your country, Indonesia, is one of the symbol of non-West culture because of high collectivism and high masculinity and high power distance. These factors in culture can influence this topic to find the position. But digitalization is there. They have power authority today, but we need to be careful, not be out of control to dominate us, but also we need to be careful to match these technologies with our culture. Otherwise, this unmatching can make problem.
All right. Another question comes from Rafi Rizki. I would like to ask about the correlation between blue, green, and non-renewable energy like oil, which has not been replaced so far. So how can we achieve the blue-green condition while from the problem of non-renewable natural resources, it always be used in life? For instance,
This is a very good question. In 2019, I published an article about this case, and the article called Wars for Oil. And that means we have blue-green, which focus on water resources and nature, energy, renewable energy, but still fossil energy has a vital role, especially oil and gas. And you can see right now, I can give you an example. We have war in Ukraine. In many European countries, they have a big inflation because of high price of energy, transportation cost, then all goods, they are expensive. Some of the goods, you cannot find them. That means oil, gas, they have vital role with all renewable energy and all blue-green stuff. That's why we cannot say we need to stop them. We need to make a plan, a mapping plan for future to save the oil and gas for future and move to blue-green energy. I don't say renewable energy because renewable energy, we have also, there are some consequences. They are not really environmental friendly. They found now, for example, internet is not a green technology. Dr. Arham, we can just make a speech. I can talk to you about this technology today we have. We think they are good, but they are not green. I can tell you, until 2025, 5% of all CO2 emission of the world is because of internet. You know, that's very important. That's why this is a case. Still, oil and gas, they have vital role. Countries, they must go to this strategy to save them and to do the production in, for example, transportation technology to use more than 80% of renewable energy, sun, wind, and this can help us. For example, if something like this happens, we cannot get economic problem, recession, inflation, and etc.
And okay, thank you very much, Professor. There is also another interesting questions that come from the student. How the trend of renewable energy be applied by industry with reasonable price and useful for society?
You know, when you talk about this question, you need to go to the model I told you in the fifth wave theory called KTB, knowledge, technology, and business. If we want to talk about this, I showed you also the businesses, they must be more flexible, fast, changeable, available, and cheap. That means in this case, we need to think about cheap price energy or even for free. If we can make this, then the aim of this theory to make the world a better place for living is going to happen. Because when we try for cheap energy, the energy price is normal. When we try to get energy for free, we have cheap energy. That means this can be our target or ideal in urban 6.0 concept. Then we can be near, you know, if we try for 100, of course we get 90. Because, you know, always we have some distance to our ideal. That's why this is very important to focus on this question with the model KTB, knowledge, technology, and business, and think about energy cheaper or for free.
All right. Another question comes. As we all know, there are 3 technological revolutions that are shaping the beginning of the 21st century. But what if a country still has humans with less skills? So is it better for the country to have a social revolution first or a technological revolution? So which one that should come first?
Yeah, actually the question, revolution is not something we make it. Revolution will happen. That's why we cannot make a plan for revolution, industrial revolution or social revolution, or which kind of revolution. If a country has this problem, as I said, education is always important. You as an institution, a university, focus on education. But as I said, for research result in European Commission showed us problem is not education. Problem is competencies, skills. Then we need to focus on these 2 points. EQ with 5 components: motivation, social skills, self-regulation, self-awareness, and empathy. How? With the focus on a new topic called conversational intelligence. This is the way of this case, not to make the revolution. If we make this infrastructure, revolution will happen. And maybe Dr. Arham, we can make a speech exactly with this topic, conversational intelligence and EQ for making infrastructure for future, or mapping the future for example, a developing country, something like this.
Yes, sure, Professor. We still have an allocated time, sometimes around May, and we might invite you again for another speech. So, masih ada lagi kawan-kawan? Apakah ada pertanyaan lagi? Profesornya menunggu. We'll see if there are. We will see if there are still students who would like to pose some questions. Okay, since there has not been any questions, perhaps you would like to have a short concluding remarks for all of us, Professor?
Yeah. First of all, I need to tell you, I talk about some future concerns, but we need to be positive. We should not think about negative future, because our future is a place we created. Our future is not a place we find it, we make it. That's why we need to be positive. We need to shake hands to each other from different cultures, different languages, different areas, and do cooperative ways to get high sustainability future and success. And for this reason, we need to use all our potential resources, HR talents, or potential fossil energy, or potential geographical positions, and etc., to get a good future. And we need to understand business economy should not be our first priority, because all problem we had this 200 years is because of business economy. And that's why, according to that model I showed you, first of all, we need to have culture as infrastructure, people also backbone of culture, and environmental responsibility first priority, social cohesion, and at the end, economic efficiency. If we do that, then we have a good future. Otherwise, we make a future for us so dark, and even if biodiversity collapse happens, we end the future soon. That's why we need to be careful and prepare ourselves for future concern, to forecast, prevent, face with that, to make the world a better place for living.
Sure. Thank you very much for the concluding remarks. And with that, we would like to conclude the today's event as well. On behalf of the University of Pertamina, we would like to thank you for all of the opportunities that you have given to all of us, especially our students, and we are hoping that with these talks that you have given, the insights of the students has increased significantly. University of Pertamina once again would like to thank you for your presence today. Kawan-kawan semua, alhamdulillah hari ini kita telah menyelesaikan webinar Cipta Karsa kita ya dengan pembicara Profesor Hamid Dost Muhammadian. Semoga apa yang telah disampaikan beliau berguna untuk kalian semua ya, dan juga bisa membuka insight bagi kalian semua itu. Thank you very much, Professor, and we are hoping to see you again in the near future. Thank you very much, thank you very much, and have a nice weekend. Thank you, and thank you to all of you, the staffs and the students. Thank you.
I would like to use this opportunity also to say thank you, Dr. Arham, your university, and all respected attendees. I wish you a good weekend and stay healthy.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Muhammadian.
Bye.
Bye-bye.